Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome to another bonus episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Today, we're here to take a look at something that was added to the 3DS remake of Ocarina of Time released in 2011. So for starters, as soon as you beat the game, you go ahead and unlock the Master Quest mode. Now Master Quest is the previous released version of the game that was on the Nintendo GameCube. Pretty much all it is a harder difficulty to the game that, in the 3DS version in particular, mirrors the entire world for an extra bit of challenge. You take double damage, but the thing that is the same between the 3DS version of Master Quest and the GameCube version is that the dungeons are changed. So the layout is the same, but what is in each room has been changed around. So it could be new enemies, new item placement, and things like that. But we're not here today to talk about Master Quest. No, we're here to take a look at something that was added to the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time in particular. So let's go ahead and jump into the main game of Ocarina of Time and load up a file here. So, when you return to your home here in Kokiri Forest, you can go ahead and take a look at your bed here, which you can go ahead and rest here, recover your health. But more importantly, after you start beating some bosses, you have this option appear saying relive a battle. So if we go ahead and select this, we now have a boss rush mode here that we can go ahead and interact with. So you can fight every single boss in the game outside the final boss fight here. And you have a very limited set of equipment going into these fights. You won't have magic for pretty much every single fight outside of Bongo Bongo, and you'll only have a set number of items going in. Mainly, you'll have whatever item you needed to defeat the boss, and that's about it. So for Goma, the only thing you're allowed to use is your slingshot. Well, with King Dodongo, you only really have bombs. So these fights are a lot more difficult in this mode in particular because of your limited amount of items. But after you beat every single one of these bosses at least once in this mode, you will unlock Gauntlet. This basically just has you play every single boss fight back to back until you beat it. So that's what we're here to cover today in particular. So I have not done the Gauntlet at all yet, so this will be my first run through the mode. So let's go ahead and do it. The Gauntlet mode is special compared to the normal boss rush of Ocarina of Time 3D. You still have a limited set of equipment here, but the biggest difference is you have pretty much everything you need to at least defeat these bosses. So you at least have some stuff here, but at the same time, you still have to worry about certain things in general after you beat a boss. So let's go ahead and use the view and take a look at Goma here and get this thing started. After you defeat a boss, at the end of the fight, you'll have an option of 1 or 2 chests, and that's where you can get some of your extra items or health back. So we're going to have to rely on that to get some more equipment that we don't have right now. So let's just go ahead and do some jump slashes at Goma here, stab her a bit in the eye, and we almost got her in one cycle. I took a little bit of pot shot damage there, but it's not too big of a deal. I always take at least one little thing of health here to Goma just by walking into her. Which never actually hurts me by actually doing damage, but I always walk into her by mistake. So just a little more slashing, and there you go. Goma's down. So, very easy, and as you can see, we're tying for our fights. So, you're encouraged to replay the boss rush along with any of their boss fights here in general to get a better time. So now we have an option of 2 chests. The small chest has bombs. The large chest can have either Deku Seeds or Deku Nuts. I'm going for the bombs, just because of the fact that I kind of want to have bombs for the next fight. You always want to have some bombs going into King Dodongo, so we have them. We're good to go. If we didn't have these bombs, the fight would be a lot more tedious because we would have to worry about using bomb flowers all the time. And while that's not a big deal to me, I can easily fight Dodongo here with the bomb flowers. I'd rather not deal with that extra little bit of timing. You would pretty much have to wait for King Dodongo to get ready to open his mouth and then run all the way to the other side of the field to grab a bomb flower. To me, it's just kind of a pace breaker, so I'd rather have these. So now it's time to go ahead and bomb some Dodongos. Just gotta wait for you to open your mouth. Come on, buddy. Alright, here we go. Throw the bomb. Get our sword out. Start wailing. Unfortunately, because we don't have a Deku Stick, this fight does take a little bit longer, so I can't just wail on him with the Deku Stick because of how much more powerful that is. It still does double damage here in the 3DS version, so there is that, but the 3DS version does fix a lot of glitches in general for Ocarina of Time. So one glitch that's gone is a thing a lot of people like to use, which is called Power Crouch Stab, where you do a jump attack, and that same value for the jump attack is carried over top-tier crouch stab, so people will just jump with the Deku Stick and then just crouch stab all the time. You can't really do that in the 3DS version. That's removed. But there you go. It only takes 3 hits compared to 2 if I had sticks. So it's just an extra cycle. Not really that big of a deal, but he's down. So now our next 2 chests can either have, for the small chest, an empty bottle or heart container, or in the large chest we can have one of 3 options: a Deku Nut, empty bottle, or recovery heart. So our options here are becoming a lot better. And I kind of want to see if I can get some Deku Nuts actually, so we're going to go for the large chest. If I just get the recovery heart, this is going to be a tease. Yes, got the Deku Nuts, perfect. Alright, now before we go on, let's go ahead and change up our item list because I'm going to need Boomerang now on one of my buttons. So there we go. We're done using the slingshot at this point. We don't need it outside of Goma. So now, it's time for Baronade. And I'm so glad I got the nuts for Baronade because that really speeds up the fight. If I didn't have Deku Nuts, I would just have to rely on the Boomerang for everything. Deku Nuts can take out these jellyfish in just one attack. So that should really help. I will say though, because I didn't get to cover this version of Ocarina of Time during my Let's Play, because when I first did the Let's Play of Ocarina of Time, that's right after the game came out. I did it as a celebration for the 3DS version. So I haven't even played it at that time. In fact, I actually never got to play the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time until 2016, because I didn't have a 3DS until the new 3DS came out. Just because of the fact that I kind of waited for a while there. I was waiting for a lot more games to come out and for a price drop. I'm glad I did, to be honest, because it definitely helps now to get a new 3DS instead of an original one. There's no point in getting an original 3DS anymore. There's just no real need, because every single game I can at least think of, can I run better on the new 3DS, or it's just in general better to have the system for this more stable 3D. Plus, I haven't really seen a normal 3DS out in the wild in a long time, so there's that to worry about too. But that's besides the point. We're talking about some of the things about this version in particular. I never really got to play this on my channel, and if I did, it would have been a much better version of the game to play, because look at this game graphically. It looks way better than the N64 version. One of the biggest differences in this game is the frame rate. The frame rate in the original Ocarina of Time was like 20 frames per second. It was super low. But in the 3DS version, they bumped that frame rate up to full 30. So now, a lot of things look very silky smooth compared to its original counterpart. And I really prefer that in terms of graphics. That's the one thing that always bugged me about the original release, is just the frame rate, because it really pushed N64. Both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask did the same thing. They pushed that system to its limit, and you can really see that in some cases because of how this kind of game in general can chug. But on the 3DS, I have noticed zero chugging. This game runs beautifully on the system. But there we go. We took down Baronade, so now we're moving on to our next boss fight. So we're done with Kid Link. Now we're ready to go into the adult Link stuff. So now our options is either the small chest, we can get, once again, empty bottle or heart container, or in the large chest, we get some Deku Nuts or an empty bottle. So I'm going to be going for the small chest and hoping for a heart container. If not, empty bottle is going to be good enough. Unfortunately, we just got the empty bottle, which honestly, I don't really see too much of a use in this mode in particular for, just because, well, it's a bottle. What are you going to do with an empty bottle, right? So let me select the... Oh, I can't do that just yet. That's right. I have to wait until I'm an adult to actually equip the bow and arrow, which is a little weird just because of the fact that I'm going to be using it in a second anyways. But the original N64 version did this as well. So, oh, actually just de-equipped everything. Alright, well, I got re-equipped some stuff here then. I'll just do that for now, where I just equip the bottle and the bow, because I'm going to use the bottle during a little tennis match. I always like to do that. So now it's time for Phantom Ganon, our first fight as an adult. It's good that we have magic here, because in the fight against Phantom Ganon, in the normal boss rush mode, if you just select him individually, you have no magic for some reason. It really bugs me about this boss rush. The only fight you have magic with is Bongo Bongo, just because of the Lens of Truth. Because every single other boss fight you can get away without using magic, they just choose not giving you magic for every other fight that's not Bongo Bongo. And it bugs me just because you don't have the extended spin attack. Now, I would really like to use that for certain boss fights, but you can't. So let's see here. It's a little bit harder to see which Ganon's the real one in the 3DS version because of the smaller screen. But what I like to do on this one is I just twirl the camera around, and that gives me a better idea which way Ganon's coming and which one's the real or fake one. I'm just gonna wait. That looks like a faker. And here's the real one in front of us now. I could also use the hook shot here, but bow and arrow is just a little bit safer. I should be careful though, because I want to conserve a lot of my ammo for the next boss fight, because I'm going to be using this thing up a lot for the next boss. Alright, so this is our last hit for Phantom Ganon on the horse. Come on, buddy, just get over here. There you go. Let's get out our bottle, get ready for tennis. This is the one thing they did not fix for the 3DS version, just as a nice little nod to the original N64 release. They actually kept in the bottle glitch where you can use this for tennis matches, and that's a nice touch. Also, what was that? He just pushed me so far backwards, and I don't get why. That's never happened to me before, both on the original version and the 3DS. Alright, so this is why I like having magic for this fight, because of the spin attack. You can still stun lock Phantom Ganon a little bit in a spin attack, but it's a little bit harder, I think, in this version, because I feel like Phantom Ganon gets up a little quicker here. So I still have to react accordingly to that. There you go. Best thing to do to stun lock him in that spin attack is just do it immediately. I still wanted to get in some of those pot shots earlier just with my lunge, but hey, we still killed him pretty quick. Now the weird thing about the boss rush mode is you still have a lot of the cutscenes still play out here if a boss fight had a cutscene. So for something like this, it's a little jarring because Ganondorf is talking to us just like how he would in the normal story, pretty much just saying this is not even close to Ganondorf's real power. Phantom Ganon is just kind of a sliver of what's to come. But it kind of feels a little bit weird to hear that here in context because we never fight Ganon in this mode. So we will never see how that quote's fulfilled. Alright, so now our next two chests here, we'll have a big quiver, empty bottle, or a long shot in the small chest. And in the big chest, we'll have a heart container or recovery heart. So of course, I'm going for the small chest. This has so many good things. Hey, the long shot. Honestly, not as useful as it could be for this mode, but I'll take it. So next up, we have Volvagia. And this fight in particular is going to be a pretty interesting one. So starting off, it's so hot in here, we're about ready to die if I don't equip this new tunic. So luckily, we have every single tunic here. So I'm going to go ahead and equip Goron tunic. Now I'm also going to equip the Megaton hammer down to here. And we'll just get rid of the bottle for now, because I don't need the bottle anymore. The bottle I only get use out of Phantom Ganon fights, so now we'll be able to fight Volvagia with everything we got here. One nice thing I haven't really mentioned at this point, but you can kind of notice if you look at the timer, it freezes during every single cutscene, so every introduction and ending cutscene with a boss, the timer does freeze, because we've been playing this for more than 5 minutes. But the timer only is active when you're fighting your bosses, so that's a nice touch. So now we go ahead and fight Volvagia after this cutscene's over. In this fight, if I know what I'm doing, I can actually end this really quick. I think this is a glitch, but in the N64 version in particular, you can actually throw bomb shoes into the holes here and then use Deca Nuts to activate them immediately. And if you did that, you actually did damage to Volvagia. I don't think that works in the 3DS version anymore, so I can't try here anyways because I don't have any bomb shoes. I have some Deca Nuts left, but not enough really to spam over and over again. So we can't really find out, unfortunately. But it's a nice little trick to know if you're playing the N64 and have bomb shoes. Bomb shoes are one of the most useless items in Ocarina of Time, but at the same time, if you know how to utilize bombs just right in this game, they can be one of the more useful ways to attack enemies. I've learned that more over the years. Because when I first played the game, I never had a use for bomb shoes. And it wasn't until recent years where I've actually found use for those things. And so that did a lot of damage because I missed my shot. So I gotta be careful at this point. 2 hearts of damage is really, really low going to these next 3 boss fights. But because I spammed arrows when Volvagia was flying around, this boss fight is a joke. Volvagia has not that much health once you shoot her enough times in the head. Or is it him? It's kind of hard to tell because you can't really tell the gender of a dragon like this. I always assumed her because of that long flowing hair, but hey, who knows? So here we have one of the 3 options in the small chest. In the small chest, we can get a big quiver, hover boots, or the long shot. In the large chest, we can get either a blue potion or a recovery heart. I'm gonna go for the large chest just because of my health. I'm kind of needing something. Unfortunately, we got the worst out of the 2. I would like to have a blue potion compared to the heart, but that helps. As you can tell at this point, I can only go for one chest at a time because if you try to open the other chest, it won't work. It's already open. So you're only allowed to open the one. Which is kind of disappointing, but at the same time it makes sense. It's a trade-off. You have to choose one or the other, and you still have a chance to get something out of the chest. You're not a guarantee for one of these item drops. For the most part so far, I've actually been having some pretty good luck, because the guide I have open next to me that lays out all the items, I'm getting a lot of good items from it. So this is really good so far. I'm liking my luck. So now it's time for Morpha. This is still one of the easiest fights if you know what you're doing, but one of the hardest fights if you don't know the cheese strategy. I'm going to be going for the cheese strategy just because of my health. I don't trust my health. So luckily, because I have a long shot, this fight's a lot easier. If I just had a normal hook shot, this would be a lot harder to reach. I would need to be right next to Morpha. Now just gotta wait for Morpha to extend. Grab you with my hook shot and start stabbing into the corner. Nope, get back here. Get back. I had a really hard time to hit you this time. That's bad. I can still grab it out of the water. There you go. Move it back. And just stab normal. No jump attacks. Oh, what the heck happened to the angle there? Alright, we're just doing this a little more normally now. This fight can be kind of awkward on 3DS in comparison to the N64. I don't know, but it feels like the Morpha's reactions here, I feel like they're a lot better. So it's a lot harder, I feel like, to even attack this thing in 3DS. I don't know why, but it may just be me. Because also smoother animation, remember that. The game definitely runs in a much better frame rate. And so I'm having really bad luck here. If I'm not careful, I will die. I think at this point we triggered Morpha's second phase where there could be 2 of these tentacles coming out. I gotta be careful now if that's the case. I'm also trying to be careful not to get hit by the spikes because I'm so close. Oh man, that was a really bad launch for me. Come on, Morpha, just get him a hook shot. Hook shot. Alright, now it's swarming up another tentacle. Actually, swarming a couple right next to me. Just stay back here, should be safe. It's too far away. Just barely, but that's good. Alright, now, before you get back in the water, I'm just gonna do this. This is the safe way. I'm playing this safe because I don't have much health. Alright, walk away. Get near the other side. I just have to make sure there's no tentacle next to me because I have Z targeting on, so it kind of obscures my camera behind me. There you go. Hook shot again. Nope. See, I really need to play this one safe. It's better safe than sorry here. I really wish I got the blue potion. I really do. Alright, come on, Morpha. We're also taking a lot longer to kill this fight as well because we don't have Biggoron Sword. That's like the one thing they don't give you. I would have preferred that they did in your equipment list. They don't give you Giant's Knife or Biggoron Sword at all because of the double damage that has on top of the Master Sword. So they don't want you going through this mode that quickly. So instead, they offer you to just have Master, which I understand because the Biggoron Sword is a nice reward after you do that long trading side quest in the game. But also, it can break bosses because of how much more powerful it is. It's the strongest weapon in the game, and it should only be used if you really need an extra hand with the boss fights. Or at least that's how the developers kind of feel, since they took it out for this mode. They want to give you more of a challenge. They don't want to make things too easy. Well, that was kind of a stressful boss fight, but hey, we win. So, oh, that was close. So now our 2 options. In the small chest, we can have a heart container, hover boots, or blue potion. In the large chest, we can have arrows or Poe Soul. Go for the small chest. Don't even bother with the large. The rewards in large are just not worth it. The Poe, oh, that's a random chance to either give you hearts or take away hearts, so I wouldn't even bother. And you don't really need arrows for the most part at this point. But we got the heart container, which is honestly the best option for me. The next thing would have been the blue potion for obvious reason to heal myself. Going into Bongo Bongo, I would prefer to have hover boots because it would make fighting this boss a lot more comfortable. Because we would still be able to aim our bow while bouncing around on the drum. At the same time though, I kind of want to live. So, we may not have hover boots, but it's not really that big of a deal. At this point, I'm getting ready for our final fight, so we don't have to deal with the equipment anymore. So we'll equip the mirror shield now to save some time. And now it's time for Bongo Bongo. So this boss fight is going to be pretty interesting because I haven't really fought him without using hover boots in a very long time. I've only fought Bongo Bongo once without using hover boots. The problem with this boss fight, if you don't have the hover boots equipped, is that every time you bounce, Link does this little flipping animation like he's doing now, of being surprised with the bounce attack, and that causes you to not be able to use your equipment for a brief moment, so it can make things a lot harder when you're trying to aim for these hands, but it's not impossible, so we can get away without having hover boots here just for that reason. Now, we just have to attack. Come on. Just wail on the eye. Come on now. There we go. So now, we just have to go ahead and wail on these hands one more time, and I think we should be... Oh, that's not good. He grabbed us. Come on, wiggle out, wiggle out. It takes away half of your health if you're not careful at this stage. Alright, so hit the eye again, and now wail on it. Alright, one more cycle, I believe. Then we got it. I'm trying to be careful with these hands in particular, because how fast they move. Oh, that was close. That shouldn't have worked. But we lived. I don't know how that worked. I will take it. We only have one more boss fight left, and this boss fight I can actually do pretty comfortably, especially at this level. So, that's a relief. But this is our last boss fight transition at this point, so this is our last chance to get something from a treasure chest. In the small treasure chest, we can have a heart container or a red potion. In the large one, Deku Nuts. That's it. Go for the small treasure chest once again. Either the healing option or the extra heart container is a big difference to nuts. And we got the red potion. So I'll take it. So I want to go ahead and talk about something before we move on to our last boss fight here. And to do so, we're going to go ahead and take a look at that Bongo Bongo fight once more, this time using an emulator to show off the widescreen hack that Ocarina of Time has. I gotta say, when I played through the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, and I played it in widescreen, it was very nice. It made things a lot easier to see. And doing the same thing on an emulator, very nice. Some things don't scale that well at the widescreen, but you can also definitely tell this is an emulator because of how the text is a little glitched. Not much you can really do about that. So, if you use ice arrows against Bongo Bongo, you can actually freeze his hands. When you freeze one of Bongo Bongo's hands, the other hand will try to break free the ice. At this point, you're free just to stun him and wail on Bongo Bongo's eye. I choose to use the hookshot because you can use either the bow and arrow or the hookshot to stun Bongo Bongo, but when you have the Lens of Truth on, you can't shoot one of your elemental arrows. So instead of just turning off the Lens of Truth and then using my bow and arrow to stun him, I just use the hookshot, and conveniently you can also just pull yourself over the Bongo Bongo with the hookshot. It's a nice little shortcut too. So doing that just makes this fight a lot easier. 5 power crouch stabs with a Bigoron sword, and this guy is dead in no time. So that's a very interesting fact that not many people know about. I honestly did not know that Bongo Bongo was weak to the ice arrows until I watched a speedrun of this game years later. So that's a very nice touch, because you normally wouldn't think of going into that boss fight with the ice arrows already collected. So I really like that touch. It's very nice. I kind of wish I gave you the ice arrows in this mode, because you never really have a chance to use that if you go for Shadow Temple first, compared to doing Spear Temple over Shadow first. At that point in the game, you could choose one of the 2 dungeons. I always go for Spear Temple last, which means I always get the ice arrows on the way. I never go into the dungeon with ice arrows that have Bongo Bongo. So, yeah, it's a cool little Easter egg. I just never got to see it. So now it's time for our final fight here against Twin Rova. And this fight in particular, I can kind of cheese a little bit if I know what I'm doing, because when one of the sisters is flying around, the old one's getting ready to shoot at its beam attack, you can kind of stun lock one of these sisters flying around a little bit by using an item like the hook shot or the bow and arrow, because then it will just cause the sisters to kind of just spin around like that. So if you know what you're doing, you can actually cause the sisters to spin around near you, which will make it easier to attack. So here I'm waiting to see which sister's actually going to shoot, and it's her. Alright, so I'm not going to do that little spinning trick because I don't want to die. Unfortunately, the fire one moved away, so I can't hit her. Now we gotta wait again for another cycle. This is all just timing based. That's pretty much all the fight is. And it's really easy to avoid getting hit here, so I gotta be careful, but at the same time, it's still very possible for me to get hurt in this phase of the fight. So again, I need to be paying attention to where they're shooting and be ready to react. So there you go. Got one hit. So just a few more left to go into phase 2. In phase 2, I'll drink my potion just to be safe. Because any of these attacks, I believe they're going to do 3 to 4 hearts worth of damage at this point. So I gotta be very careful. Now I'm just going to be playing this safe. I don't care how long it actually takes me to really beat the boss rush mode here. I'm just trying to win it. I'm not trying to actually get the world record attempt because, oh, we would have reset a long time ago if that was the case. There you go. That's another hit down. I believe 2 more before we go into phase 2. I don't really think it's a possibility to get a good time in this mode without getting good luck, because I think it all just depends on your items you get here. That's the big thing. It's all kind of luck depending on what items you get from the small or large chests, and that's one thing I like and don't like at the same time, because I like how they reward you after you beat a boss fight by giving you something, which is great because some boss fights you really need that extra hand. But at the same time, if it's random, that's one thing that kind of bugs me. I would kind of wish I had some more set pattern to it, because you have 1 or 3 options from a treasure chest. That doesn't really guarantee the one thing you're going for you're gonna get. That's some pretty low odds. I mean, some treasure chests in the beginning, like bombs in the small treasure chest with Goma, or nuts at the very end of the Bongo Bongo fight in the large one. That's a pretty big difference. Also, I hit the wrong button for pausing. That's the one thing about pausing I don't really like as much in the 3DS version, because the start and select buttons both just pause the game to save and quit. That's pretty much all that does. You have to tap on the touchscreen to get to everything else. Your gear, map, items, everything else. It's kind of weird. One thing that's nice about the 3DS version of both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask in particular is it does free up a lot more item slots compared to the original N64, because you only had 3 item slots in the N64 version. That was it. In this version, you have 4, counting your Ocarina, 5, which is really good. So it's much better than the original release just for that reason, but at the same time, it could still be a little bit better in terms of navigating the menus, because menus I don't like nearly as much navigating here as in the N64 version. Sure, it can be a little bit quicker when you tap on the screen, but that's about it. So I prefer being able to pause the game and get to my item select screen with the actual pause button, and unfortunately you don't have that here. Alright, so just gotta do some more slashes here. And there, that's some more damage. I don't think that's enough just yet. I probably need 2 more jump slashes before Twin Rova's dead. So let's see what kind of luck we get here. At this point in the fight, we can have either fire or ice being shot at us. It can be randomized now. It's not going to be in a set pattern. We need to see. So far, getting 2 fires in a row, and that's some pretty good luck. Alright, good. 3 fires in a row. That's some pretty good luck. Now we just gotta jump attack you twice, I believe, and then you're dead. Oh no. 2 jump attacks and 1 normal slash and you're dead. I was off by 1 attack. Didn't really matter because Twin Rova is down. And that was it. That's the final boss. We would actually be fighting the real final boss of the game, Ganon, but since he's not in the boss rush mode at all, this is where our story ends. Kinda anticlimactic for Link here, but hey, we did it. So we get to see the Kotake and Kume little cutscene here, arguing over age. This is still one of my favorite cutscenes in the game, because these two bicker back and forth because one says I'm younger than the other, and they're twins. So how is that possible? That and I love their noises. One thing I always found weird as a kid is, in Ocarina of Time, these 2 characters are evil. They work for Ganondorf, and they are trying to do whatever they can to help him take over the world. But in Majora's Mask, these 2 sisters are all of a sudden good guys. They do whatever they can to help Link out in his adventure. So it's weird when you see that message at the very end saying we'll come back to haunt you, but technically in the next game for Link here, Majora's Mask, it's the same Link he's told that, oh, we'll come back to haunt you. But they don't haunt you, they help you. They kind of do the exact opposite of what they say without even realizing it. It's really funny and very ironic in the process. But that was it! We beat the Gauntlet mode, and you don't get anything for doing this, you just get the satisfaction of beating it with your new high score. So you can always go back into the mode and try to beat your record time, but that was it. that's pretty much everything I wanted to show off in this bonus episode in particular. So yeah, we go ahead and take a look at our wall here. We can see everything we've done at this point. And as you can see, it doesn't really list the boss gauntlet because that's brand new for the 3DS. You have to go to your bed in order to see this kind of a thing. But that's it. We are done. We've beaten every single boss outside of the final boss. So we could do that another day, I believe. Or we could just go back to one of the previous videos and do it either as an adult or a kid. So we've done both of them. Thank you guys for watching this bonus episode. Hope y'all enjoyed. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.